Back to another Technical Panda video. As I said in my last video, why I changed my name. Happy 2017. Today we're starting a small little mini series, and before I get started, you may notice the smoother, less choppy camera, not jiggling around like this. It's because I got a tripod. I actually got a tripod. I said I would, and I did. So today the mini series is Lost Operating Systems. I thought it would be appropriate to start with Windows because Windows and Microsoft has a lot of lost operating systems. I'm going to start with one of my favorites personally is Windows Neptune, Project Neptune, and Project Odyssey, which later became Windows Whistler, part of Project Whistler, as you can see here, right here. Project Whistler, which later on became Windows XP. Neptune was working, they were working to replace Windows 2000, and they're, they're working on changing the kernel version now from the 9X something to the new one. Some of the things don't actually look that bad. Here's some screenshots. This was the earliest build of Windows Neptune, and then they were working on Windows Odyssey at the same time. Windows Odyssey was supposed to be the professional version of Windows, of the new version of Windows, and then Windows Neptune was supposed to be the consumer version. And as you can see, it says Windows 2000. That's because this is an early version, and they were just changing out the kernel versions and some other things, but it is Windows Neptune, which later became Windows XP. As you can see from this quick Google search, when it loads up, Windows Neptune kind of felt like the bridge between Windows XP and Windows 2000 XP in that era, and Windows kind of like 8. Kind of got some 8-ish features. It doesn't. Some of the user interface doesn't feel all that old today. See that? If you change up the colors and that logo, it would still look pretty good in Windows 10. It wouldn't look that out of place. And then some things just felt like Windows 2000. There was guest modes. That was the first time they actually introduced modes in there, like different users in there. And then there's only like 1 or 2 builds, I believe, that exist today, that were sent out to developers. There is no known version of Odyssey, though. I'm pretty sure. I can Google quick. Yeah, as you can see, there isn't really any information on it, except from the fact it was based off of Neptune, and it was just supposed to be another version of Neptune OS, Windows Neptune, which later merged together and became Windows Whistler, Project Whistler. And from there it became, let me show you. I spelled that wrong. I have my tripod on my computer, and I can't spell it now. Now, the Project Whistler there's 2 phases of that. It was supposed to be, wait, never mind. The Whistlers were combined. What happened when they combined Neptune, which is one of my favorite lost operating systems. I can't get it to work on my computer because I don't have the ISO right now. Which, speaking of that, I am actually getting the new Windows 10 Insider. I'm a developer with Tester. I wanted to do a video on that within a virtual machine. But Whistler, codenamed Whistler, was the combination of these two. It was still a very Windows 2000 disk. It still had the sounds, but over time it became that was the first one to include remote desktop connection. Over time it became Windows XP, and it begins to look very much like it. So, yeah. The Windows XP development phase slash Project Whistler was divided by me and by many other people into two categories. Pre-Luna, which looked more old, like Windows 2000-esque. Because they were changing the kernel. I thought they weren't really developing as much the visual effects and the visuals as they were the operating system itself. So this is the pre-Luna logo, very Windows 2098-esque, very flat palette. And then if you go over here, this is post-Luna. Oh yeah, my keys don't work on here. This is post-Luna, very XP-esque, but still not at XP. It's still, here's the video from the guy. This is mine, so I'm just going to just snip it. It is Windows Whistler, but it will become Windows XP over time. Okay, so this is pre-Luna, Project Whistler / XP development. Okay. Sorry, I don't think I was recording. So this is pre-Luna. It was very old, very flat. Luna, I don't know if it recorded me saying this, but Luna was before Luna was the split between Classic, when they started to finally work on developing the graphical user interface and the software and all that stuff down, and not so much the kernel, but they started working on the user interface, and then started to become more Windows XP, and that's the difference between the Luna and this. Also, in Windows XP, I do believe they still have that guy in there. I do like that wizard. I'm gonna let him speak through this a bit, and I do like Merlin. Oh crap! Oh, fun little tidbit. You know, on the new MacBook where they say you can scrub through a video with your keys? Yeah, you can do that on Windows. Here, let me show you quick. So I'm in a video. Sorry to get you guys a bit sidetracked, but this is cool because everyone at Apple says you can't do this on Windows, but you can. Watch. I'm 23 minutes on 56 seconds on this video. I'm gonna hit 8. 1. Some of the keys on the computer don't work, but 1, 7 minutes and 15 seconds. See? Oh, here's what I was talking about. Okay, so certain things in Project Whistler don't look that outdated. See, that doesn't look horribly outdated even by today's standards on our computers. That looks very Windows 2, Windows 7-esque. Like that wouldn't look that bad on any computer today. The user interface. I'm sorry, I'm recording a YouTube video on here. I'm sorry. I don't actually have the operating system, so I'm just showing you what they could have been, or what Microsoft was thinking. And I can get the Linux ones in them, but this doesn't look that outdated by now. This actually, if you were to make that color shade darker in the color palette, you could actually have Windows 8. So let's move on. Yeah, okay, so this is actually the last final build of pre-Luna Windows Whistler Project Whistler coming. Okay, so as you can see, it's become to get the theme of Windows XP down, like color palette, but not getting there. The start menu here, right there on here. It's beginning to look It is still very Windows 2000-esque. So it's getting there, but it's not completely there. In fact, this came out, Windows XP came out my birth year. Yeah, it's becoming very weird. And then this is where they started to change over to, I believe, the new graphical user interface and the new graphic engine, Apollo, not Apollo. Maybe it is. I forget off the top of my head. But they changed it from the old one to the new one. And then this is still pre-Luna. This is the final version of pre-Luna, and then it switches over. As you can see, everything's very blue and green. There's another color scheme. Yeah, see. Yeah, I changed it to very Windows XP-esque, but still very flat. And what I mean by flat, I mean there isn't the 3D graphics that there was like on my home on the start menu. Yeah, see, this is flat. But let's see if we can find an icon that is. Yeah, like this one. Like the Steam logo is very 3D. Let's go. Okay, so this is post-Luna now. We're going to move on to the post-Luna, which is another add-on list. Okay, so as you can see, this is the first version of Windows Whistler, of Windows Whistler post-Luna build. This is the very first build. It's a beta 2 build. But here's what I find interesting. I don't know if it's not showing up well on camera. Okay, that fixes it. This bar right here is different colors. It's red, yellow, it's red, green, blue, and orange or something. Yeah. Yeah. That I really do like that. And I wish it was in an all Windows version because that looks neat and it generally looks better than the Windows 10 boot up. Second thing is you'll notice this isn't my screen doing that. That is actually the pre-XP that has no color in it. There is no multicolored windows. So we're going to skip ahead a bit in this video. And as you can see, it's becoming very Windows XP-esque. I don't know how many of you had Windows XP, but this is becoming very, very close. That actually is included in the Windows XP, except with some minor tweaks. And this is the first version of Project Whistler post-Luna. As you can see, it looks, the start menu right there looks very Windows XP-esque. That's the 3D, not the flat, as I told you. It has everything on here, and it has a different wallpaper, as you can see. Lunar. It's very, what's the word? It's not completely Windows XP yet, but it's getting there. Skip ahead a bit. As you can see, the start menu has a couple right here on the Internet Explorer, email, and everything on this side of here is the old icon pack and the old icons, but everything below that, the more programs, the log off, power off, which I still love in Windows, and all of these on this side are all the new ones. This is the whole new start menu. This is the new start button. All this down here, the blue, that is not in any other. This is the Luna version. And this is a lunar theme, as you can see. This is the actual lunar. Also, this is more like the, there is animation on there. Yeah, there is an animation on the start menu in this version, but it doesn't have that in the actual version of Windows XP. When it actually did come out, they don't have that. It's I can liken it to the Android lock screen, the Android app drawer on KitKat. It was just there on when Google went over to minimal design, the minimalist design. They made the operating system slow, but they added effects, well, not effects, the animations. So that's what I like. It has that, and I do like it. Oh, for the record, this is from a YouTuber called MJD799. I like his YouTube content. I like him a lot. He does a lot of Windows builds, a lot of stuff like that. Okay, so we're gonna skip ahead to. Okay, that's too far ahead. This is Luna. Okay. Oh, I do like that. This is like one sec. Okay, so this was taken out. Let's see, when it loads. I'm downloading the new Windows beta trials. But this is neat. Watch, listen. I'm gonna skip past it again. Okay, watch. Look, that I wish was in Windows. That is truly neat. Instead of the weird fading in, I do like that a lot more than the Windows. Okay, let's go to the final version of Windows Whistlers, which this is the final version of this before it becomes XP. I'm sorry guys, my internet's crap. Okay, so see, it does say Windows XP in this version. This is still Whistler. I think, yeah, it says, no, it doesn't say on here right now. It doesn't have, it says Whistler. And fun fact, all the Windows builds are actually professional. Yep, it says. Okay, so this is when it becomes XP. And this picture on here, on Windows, I don't know how many of you know that, it's actually taken in California by a photographer, not hired by Microsoft, but Microsoft bought the rights to this for $4 million in 1999 and put it in here. And the last time it sold was for $30 million, I believe. So, well, that's actually a real hill in California, but outside of Microsoft Office or something. I probably butchered that, but this is very XPS. And this is in a virtual machine on the YouTube. As in the, if you rewind to the previous part of this video, remember that I showed you the pre-Luna. This is when they're all very flat, very Windows-esque, Windows 2000-esque. This is very round, very three-dimensional, very good. Okay, so we're going to move on from this to one of my second favorites, is Longhorn. Now, the Longhorn was, one sec. Okay, so this is Project Longhorn, which I don't like as much as Project Neptune and Project Odyssey because it's not as mysterious and it's not as neat or revolutionary until you get later on into this. There is two periods that have been clearly marked in this word in Longhorn. Longhorn pre-development, I mean reset. There was a reset in it because Microsoft officials and the developers were not communicating properly, and they're adding too many features to it, and they were being overwhelmed. And they had a giant meeting, I assume, and we're just like, we're going to reset this, and we're going to reset this because we want Longhorn codename Longhorn to become an incremental upgrade from Windows XP. It was supposed to be an incremental new upgrade. It was supposed to be Vista, a Vista pre-Vista update, I believe. So it was named after mountains in Canada, I believe. There is Blackcomb, Whistler. Wait, there's 3 mountains, and the between them there's 2 things. I think it's Blackcomb is the big one. Whistler is the way to get between them, and Longhorn, or something like that. I think those are out of order, but that's how it is. So this is the first version of Longhorn. As you can see, it's all monochrome, but they still have that classic Windows XP thing in the logo, but it has no mono. It's still monochrome. This is pre-reset. I mean post-reset. Hey, I want pre-reset. Little mistake here. This is pre-reset. Now this was happening in 2004, and I don't like that. Okay, so ignore that. He's going to mention why Windows was reset. I'm sorry if this kind of looks like crap because the Longhorn is in 1440, not 1440p, it's like in 480p low res, and he's recording this on the screen in 1080p, and I'm recording this, so I'm sorry if it looks disgusting. That was my watch, sorry. This is neat. But when they did that, they couldn't. The developers I mentioned got confused and didn't know what they were actually doing, so they just wound up throwing everything they were going to put, most of the things they were into Blackcomb, into Longhorn, which is supposed to be an incremental update, and form Vista, which, as you know, how that turned out. I don't know if that was because of the reset or because of something else. Ooh. I will show you the reset post and pre. So we're going to the first version of Windows Longhorn looks very much like XP, but combined. Yeah. So this is the very first version of Longhorn. As you can see, it's got more. It's got the M3 build, which actually means milestone 3, and you'll see that in a later version of this. It's got the Longhorn logo. I don't know about you, but Longhorn steaks are really good steaks. So it does have the more 3D effects, but I think it has a different task tray. It has new recycle bins and stuff. It actually still has the 2000 Windows start menu. It has the blue menus that slide out. This is still an incremental one. And notice right here, the local disks. That will actually be replaced. The green bar right here, how much storage it says that you have, that actually gets replaced in a later version of this operating system. I don't know why, but it's Microsoft and they're weird. So this is the first version pre-reset. So this is the first time, second version of Windows Longhorn, yeah, pre-reset that shows Windows XP. And they always say professional for some reason. And wait, never mind, I made a mistake. I was thinking of Whistler. This is they always will say up until like the later versions of it. They'll always say the previous version of the operating system. They did that with. So this is Windows Vista right now, becoming Windows Vista, and it says Windows XP Professional because it's based off the professional code. The more you know. And I don't know if you saw the copyright date, but it's the only indication of it being a different date because Windows XP was copyrighted for 2001. Fun fact. So we're going to skip ahead. That's licensing agreement. And then this is the startup menu for Windows Vista. It's very monochromatic. And then it has a clock up here. Okay, so we're going to skip ahead to the build 4 of this version. Because there wasn't really any significant thing that I found interesting in there. But this one, I find this interesting. They have shortcut bars now. They have a new wallpaper. It still feels, it's a bit dated. But at the corner it says Longhorn XP Professional, which indicates that this isn't, I don't know how to word this, but it's a different version of XP that they're building it off of and to form Vista. That's what I think, at least. And then this is this is what will become Vista pre-reset. These are the widgets, and I don't know how many of you remember Windows 7. There are widgets right here. Windows 7 had widgets in it. They had widgets in it that you could change in some. Oops, I messed something up. Anyways, they had widgets right here and clocks you could put on there. They didn't have the sidebar, but you could put them on the desktop. This is the first time they had something on the sidebar. Windows, you can still put the thing on the sidebar, but it doesn't work towards anything. No, I can show you. I have a hidden bar. If it wants to cooperate here. See, I can just put it up there. Yeah, you can still do that on Windows. But it doesn't have like the widgets or stuff like that. It does have that new clock, and I don't know about that. But you have slideshow, you have programs, you have legacy notifications. I don't know what legacy means, does it? Yeah. But this is the first time it says Longhorn Professional in it. So Windows XP Professional in this, on here at least. And then let's skip ahead to another build. This is milestone 5, which is they were adding a bit more features into this, adding a bit more functions into it that were later in Windows 7. And then let's see. Let's skip ahead to the final version of this before they did the reset. I'm going to show you the reset. Okay, let's skip a bit too far ahead. Keep this camera focused a bit. Okay. So as you can see, this is very. If they were to update this, this is a slate theme on Windows. This is the Windows slate. It's kind of like a GE slate. This they brought back they got rid of the storage line, how full it is. Instead, they replaced it with fractions and percentage signs. You can actually change it to fractions, or someone did. I misspoke it. I mean percentage signs. It's a percentage sign instead of a line. Later on, they put that back in. It's very. It's got a gradient in it here, like on Windows Vista, and later when I don't think Windows 7 had that, but Windows 7 did have widgets on the desktop, and this is the final version of Longhorn before they went reset, I believe. I don't know that much about Longhorn. Okay, so this is. Okay, so guys, this is the first version of Windows Longhorn, after the reset, I should say. And it kind of went backwards from here, back almost Windows XP-esque, and then later on it became more like Vista. Second thing is, Black Home, there's only a couple videos on there. There isn't really much information on Black Home / Vienna. And my brother's making crap in the microwave, so I'm gonna pause this for now. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to show you guys today. I'm gonna do a bit more research on Black Home and see if we can find some more videos on it. But there is a Wikipedia page. It's decent, I guess, but it's not fully there. But this is Longhorn, what was supposed to be Vista. As you can see, yep. So you can see it totally changed from the kind of farm-like scene to more of this cityscape on the windows. This is the first version, and the start menu became almost like the last thing on Windows 7 and Windows Vista. Last theme, as it was called. There's more. There's security down there. There's more. They got rid of the bar on the side, the function bar. There is no longer the Longhorn logo and stuff like that. They still have the older logos now. He didn't mention this in his videos, but there is a gradient on here, a color gradient, and it does change from the dark to lighter in the middle. And then these are there's some old and new icons from like Windows 2000. I don't know.